Hi Fit Mums and anybody else out there who would like to train for half an hour doing this kind of thing. As you know, I'm not a very professional person at doing this kind of thing, but twice must make it better than the first time. So just to say, what you'll need for this is a couple of tins, hopefully full tins of beans or lentils or whatever you've got, maybe a couple of bottles of water, a litre and a half or something like that. If you've got real dumbbells, go with those. You'll also need a bit of floor space, maybe a rug or a mat, and possibly a chair or a bench or some low wall that is sturdy enough to stand on. And I think we're probably all right to go. So we'll jump straight in. Hope you're all keeping well, of course, and we'll try and do our best to keep you that way if we can. So we'll do our usual stretches, so just pushing the palms up to the ceiling, and a little bit of a twist over to one side, and a twist over to the other side. And again, just because it felt good the first time, and over the other side. Good. Okay, and then we'll just do some arm circles just to get the shoulders moving. Is it just mine that crunch? Oh, there we go. And then a little bit of backstroke. And good. I hope the sun is shining for you on the day that you're doing this. But if not, I'm sure you'll be able to do it indoors and find a space for it. It's not going to take up an awful lot of room. And a bit of a twist and a twist. I'm going to try and make this a little bit different from the first one that I did so that you don't get too bored with repetition. I should say that if any of this is too much for you in your recovery from, need to roll by the way, from having a baby, then just rein it back in and do something less high impact. Most of this is designed for you if you've had a baby relatively recently, but you shouldn't probably be doing this if you had a baby less than 6 weeks ago or less than 12 weeks ago if you had a C-section. So let's just, I think, getting a bit warmer now. A few squats, so when you're squatting, stick the bum out. Sorry to draw attention to that, but hey, try not to let the knees go too far over the toes. Okay, good. And then stepping back, just pushing the heel down into the floor to stretch the calf a little bit as we prepare to do something a little more dramatic in a moment or two. Not too dramatic. Okay, so my film assistant here is going to film me running around the room. Thank you, Liz. Okay, so we're going to either jog on the spot if that's all the room you've got, or if you have a bit of space, then you can jog around the room in random ways just to get the heart rate up a little bit. And that's it, keep going, keep going. I'll use my little timer so that we get 30 seconds and off we go. So, a bit of ropeless skipping. The great thing about ropeless skipping is that even if you're really uncoordinated, you never trip over the rope, which is what I like. Everything is cordless these days anyway. Call this Bluetooth skipping maybe. You can try a bit of a figure of 8 as well if you like. Okay, good. Our next one is going to be deep squats. So we're going to go a deep squat, pulse 3 times and back up. Pulse 3 times and back up. You can probably get lower than this, but you're all way younger than me, and you didn't have a motorcycle accident, which means you can't bend your knee. So 1, 2, 3, back up. 1, 2, 3, and back up. We're then going to try a 1, 2, 3 touch. 1, 2, 3 touch. Okay. A little bit of lateral movement across the room, or across the garden, or across the sunny patio if that's where you happen to be today. This is the only bit of choreography that I had to learn. Back to a bit of running on the spot, try and get those knees nice and high, or if you prefer, a bit of a trek around the room. And go around the other way if you're getting giddy. Okay, and jogging on the spot for a little bit longer. That's it, keep going. Nearly there. A few more seconds. Okay, then we'll go back to our safe skipping. So grab hold of your rope and let's go backwards this time. Nice and safe. If you want to, do a bit of jogging one foot to the other, I know it's not really like skipping, is it? But the idea is to burn a few calories and use a few muscles that you wouldn't otherwise be using. Skipping. And we'll stop that there. Now deep squat with a bit of a pulse at the bottom. So a little bit wider this time, feet out. 1, 2, 3, and back up. 1, 2, 3, back up. 1, 2, 3, and up. 1, 2, 3, and up. Just 1, 2, 3, and up. 1, 2, 3, up. Good. 1, 2, 3, back up. 1, 2, 3, and up. 1, 2, 3, and up. And then finally, for this little circuit, a 1, 2, 3 touch. Just touching the toe. Tuck that foot behind. I'm sure you'll be doing it a lot more elegantly than me, but you get the idea. That's it. 1, 2, 3, and touch. 1, 2, 3, touch. 1, 2, 3, touch. 1, 2, 3, touch. Okay. Almost there on that first circuit. Okay. And breathe. I'll reset the timer. Have a drink anytime you need it between these little circuits. And we will start with the second one in just a few seconds. This is going to be the back lunge and hop. So we'll be doing high knee, back lunge, hop. Okay, and we'll do that on both sides. We'll then do some jump lunges that way, and then we'll be doing just a skate and touch, one step. Okay, here we go. The first one, high knee, back lunge, hop, hop, and hop. Okay, so we're doing sideways on it, looks a bit like that. Try and get that back knee as low as you can so that you've got 90 degrees bend there, 90 degrees bend there. If it's too much, the hop, just high knee lunge, okay? We'll go on to the other side. High knee and hop, 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 that's good. Excellent. Don't know why I'm saying excellent. You might be sitting sipping coffee while I'm doing this, and it's just me. But I hope you're doing this as well. Again, if it's too much high impact, just do the high knee and the back lunge without the hop. Okay. Now, jump lunges. You've got a number of options. Shallow, a bit like the spotty dog exercise, or you can go proper deep for the jump lunges, whatever suits you better, or somewhere in the middle. Just go with what your knees can take, what your hips are happy with, what your ankles can do, and what your lungs will cope with. Okay. And then our little skater and touch. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Again, if that's too much impact, just step. Just step. Okay? Or you can do a bit of a leap to the side each way. That's it. Well, my heart rate's getting up. Maybe it's the time of day I'm recording this. Okay. Back to our back lunge hops again. Second round. Back lunge, hop. Back lunge, hop. Back lunge, hop. That's it. Good. Keep going if you can. Kind of starts to feel the burn in the thigh muscle at about this point. Okay, good. Whew. Glad that one's over. Okay, we'll do it on the other side. So high knee, back lunge, hop. And again, just keep going. Again, if you're getting tired, just the high knee and back lunge without the hop is perfectly acceptable. And if you can add the hop, that little plyometric jump, probably burn the extra calorie or two. Certainly works the muscle of the glute and the thigh very adequately. Jump lunges, remember these ones? So you decide the depth. If you want to go very deep, go for it. If you're happier with shallow and quick at this stage, that's perfectly fine too. Good. How are your offspring today, those of you who have them? Assuming this is something you're doing with a baby over there or asleep. I hope they're letting you do the whole thing today. Okay, and then finally our skater to one side and the other. Good. Just touching down, touching down. Good. Nearly there. Can feel it. Only a few more seconds. There we go. Okay, I'll switch this little timer off for a second. Now, for the next one, you might need a chair or a bench, or if you're in the garden and you have a low wall behind you, that should do very nicely. We're going to try to do burpees, tricep dips, and step off. So, burpees, you all know, I'm sure. It's a little bit easier if you're working on a step than if you're doing them on the floor. But if you haven't got a step, sorry, you left them on the floor. Okay, so here we go. Burpees can be done like that. You can do them on the floor. It's the simpler version without going all the way down. Or you can carry on doing them on the step or whatever you happen to have available. If you're indoors and all you've got is a sofa, that will do too. Okay, so that's your burpees. Ooh, working up a sweat here. Then tricep dips. Keep the elbows tucked in with your legs straight. It's a little bit harder. Try and get 90-degree bends in the elbows. If it's too hard, bend the knees slightly, takes part of the weight, and dip down as much as you can. That's it. Nearly there. Good. Nice upper body exercise after all those leg ones. Okay, sit down, but only for 7 seconds. Sorry. And then we're going to do a step off exercise. So, try and engage the glutes when you're doing this one. Touch down and back up. Touch down, back up. All on the same leg. If you were doing it that way on a wall, it's going to look like that. If you've got a really sturdy chair or box, then that'll work as well. We'll swap leg and touch down, back up. If you need to push off that bottom foot a little bit just to get yourself back up, that's fine. That's it. Woo, strip it off. There we go. Nearly there. Okay, back to, we'll go those 4 exercises again. So burpees, if you're doing them on the floor, good for you. Get extra points for that. It's a lot tougher. Or if you're doing them on the box or a step, a little bit easier. Again, if you're not quite ready for the jump, just come back up and stand. Come back up and stand. That's fine. You know what your body is ready for. Okay, tricep dips one more time. So, in position. Remember, straight legs is harder. So, if you're ready for those, give it a try. If you're not quite ready for that, bend the knees, and some of the weight will be on your heels, and it will make it just that little bit more doable. That's it. A few more. Good. Okay, and then to finish off that particular circuit, remember, up on the step or the wall or the chair, and touch down, try and engage the glute when you're doing this so that it doesn't hurt the knee. This bit with the arms is not absolutely necessary, but it helps me. Sometimes looking at something in front of you helps you with balance too. And then we'll try the other side. Off we go. There we are. Keep going. All these leg exercises burn more calories just because you're using bigger muscle groups when you're doing them. Good. Hold on. Keep it up. And we're done on that one. Okay. So this time I think we'll do some abs exercises, which I don't think we did on the last set. So if you have a mat, that's terrific. If you just have a rug or somewhere reasonably comfortable, or the grass even, with a blanket, it will do. We're going to do 4 floor exercises twice. So we have an exercise which some people call the oyster. So, camera person, are you? Thank you, Liz. Okay. So I'll start the timer. The first one is going to be with the legs crossed. I'll do it sideways. That's easier, isn't it? And then elbows to knees. So just pulling in the tummy muscles and elbows to knees. Support the neck with your hands so that it doesn't hurt your neck. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, drop the legs as well, but that will put a little bit more stress on the lower back. Okay, our next exercise, if you have the elbows out to the side and then tilt over to one side, tilt over to the other. Head and shoulders can relax in this one, but just take it to where it starts to pull at the waist on either side, just to where you feel you can control it well without pulling anything. That's it. Just works the obliques here at the sides. Trim up that waist a little bit. There we go. That's the beep. Can I remember what's next? I can. Cycle sit-ups. So opposite knee to opposite elbow across the body. If that's too much, support underneath the bum and just do the leg part. Okay, but if you're ready for the full-on exercise, go for opposite knee, opposite elbow, all the way through. Trying to keep those ab muscles pulled in the whole time. Good. And then the last of those, crossing over the ankles, and we'll reach up towards the toes on either side. Off we go. There we go. For some of you, that may hurt your neck, so you can sort of support the neck each time, if that's not too complicated to do. With any of these exercises, if you feel that it's doing more harm than good to where you're at in your recovery from having a baby or from coming back after injury, then just sit that one out until the next exercise comes up. Okay, we're going to do the first one again. You remember our oyster exercise? Goodness knows why it's called an oyster. Never seen an oyster doing this. Anyway, we take inspiration from nature. Here we go. So again, if it's just the minimal movement, elbows to knees, if you can, drop the knees as well. That'll make it a little bit more challenging to do. Okay, our second exercise, elbows out to the side for balance, and then tilt over to one side, tilt over to the other, and pull at the waist that side. Good. Good. If you're outside, I hope the sky is blue and you can listen to some of the birds singing right now. And remember, this is doing you good. Great. Okay. We're doing the cycle sit-ups one more time. So the opposite knee to the opposite elbow. Again, if you're not quite ready for that one, support underneath your glutes, and we'll just do the leg part of that. Try and touch the heels to the floor. And if you can, do the full-on exercise, elbow to knee, either side. That's it. We are almost there with this abs routine. Okay, then crossing over the ankles in the air, we'll reach up to the toes on one side and the other. Again, you need to support the neck. Let me get that right. That way. That might help. Good. Great. We are almost there. This one. Good. Not sure how long we've been going for. My camera person.
25 minutes.
25 minutes. Okay, we have time for a little upper body before we quit on this. So if you did bring a couple of cans, nothing in particular, coconut milk and evaporated milk, 400 grams. If you have some dumbbells, go with the dumbbells. If you have a couple of bottles of water, that will be entirely adequate too. Whatever you happen to have to hand. At this moment, if you do have lots of cans in your cupboard, you chose a good moment to do this particular routine. So what we're going to do is a bit of squat and press. So we'll just simply go squat and press. So if you've got something a little bit heavier in your hand, a bit more benefit than these, go for it. A couple of bags of rice, 1.5 litres of water, 2 litres of water, or a couple of dumbbells. Get a little bit more benefit from this particular exercise, but after a while, even these feel like they're doing something. The next one, up at the front and lower at the side. Nearly got that light fitting, and lowering at the side. Up at the front and lower at the side. Slowly down at the side. Good. Good. Important to keep the upper body strong. If you've been a mum for a little while, you know that your upper body is used way more than you used to in the office. So, we're going to come up at the sides this time and lower at the front. Up at the sides and lower at the front. Up at the sides, lower at the front. I always like to train the shoulders in a rotational way, because that's kind of how we use our shoulders. Whether it's a golf swing or a tennis serve, or just whatever you're doing around the house, you'll find that you're using your shoulders in a rotational way. So choosing to do them in a rotational way is good. Then bending parallel to the floor, we're doing a reverse fly. So pinching the shoulder blades together to get the back of the shoulders. I want to use the whole of the shoulder for pressing, rotation, and at the back too. This is great for posture, those muscles. If you're all hunched over breastfeeding, or hunched over a computer, or hunched over in a car, though nobody's driving at the moment very much. Okay. And then our final round, our squat and press overhead. Squat and press overhead. Again, if you've got something a little bit heavier than this, you'll probably be able to manage it. Good. I wish I was outside. It's getting way too warm in here of an evening doing this with the central heating on. Never mind, it's not really entirely about me, is it? This is for you. All right. So we're going up at the front and down at the side for this next series. So up at the front, down at the side. Nearly there now. Okay, good. Probably reached very close to our half hour now. So mixing it up a little bit from the last one. And I hope all you mums in Harpenden and anybody else who can join us is enjoying this little bit of exercise at home during this lockdown period. We're coming up at the sides this time and lowering at the front, up at the sides, lowering at the front. You might even notice now that 400 gram cans feel heavier than they did when you started. Okay, good. And some of you are thinking, why did I pick those 5 kilogram dumbbells when I could have just had cans? Okay. And your final one is going to be, again, keeping the back kind of flat like that and pulling the arms up, pinching the shoulder blades together. Just trying to get you exercising with whatever you happen to have in the house. Again, if you do have a proper bench and a mat and some proper dumbbells, fine, but you don't need them to be able to do something fairly effective. Okay, I'm dripping here. It's enough. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of stretching to finish off. I won't go through the whole thing in detail because it was on the last one, but if you just pull up the heel behind you, stretch off the quadriceps on both sides for about 15 or 20 seconds. So you'll do that on the other side. You can do this once you've switched off. Then for the hamstring, bend from the hip, keep this leg straight and the toes lifted, touch if you can, and that will stretch all the way down the back of your hamstring here. So you do that on both sides. And then for your calf, the lower leg, pushing the heel down and pulling the shoulders back, 15-20 seconds for that one as well. So if you can do that on both sides, that will complete your half hour or so of Fit Mums exercise for today. And I'll try and come back another time soon. All right, all the best. Bye for now.